Hi guys, and welcome back to another Premier League prediction video. Now, for the second week running, we've got 2 scores correct. Very happy with that. 2 out of 10 is decent, and we also got 5 of the other results correct. The 3 that we didn't get right, we went for draws in all of them. So I'd say that is a pretty good week. The 2 scores we did manage to get correct were Brentford beating Bournemouth 2-0 and Southampton beating Everton in that massive relegation battle 2-1. So that's 2 Southampton scores correct in a row as well. I did predict them the week before to lose against Nottingham Forest 1-0. But 2 in a row for Southampton, very, very good. Let's see if we can make it 3 here and carry on getting some scores correct. Now before we get into the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell. Make sure that you don't miss out on any Premier League content. And if you aren't subscribed and you are watching, might be your first time seeing me, subscribe and see if you enjoy my content. If you're here, you're returning and you're still not subscribed, why not just hit that button? And let's get into my predictions. And we start off with the battle of the underperformers. Liverpool against Chelsea. Now I know a few other teams aren't performing as highly as they have been, but Liverpool and Chelsea are currently occupying 9th and 10th, which is very surprising for 2 teams that are normally in the top 4, especially considering we are halfway through the season now. Liverpool do have a game in hand, but Chelsea have played 19. They will both pick up in the second half, I'm sure. Liverpool aren't investing too much. Chelsea are throwing money at everything under their new ownership. And we'll see how it works out for both of them. It's going to be an interesting fixture because Liverpool have lost 2 in a row, conceding 6, scoring 1 across those 2 games. It was a 3-1 loss to Brentford and a 3-0 loss to Brighton. So Liverpool are struggling. Chelsea picked up a win for the first time in a while, a 1-0 victory over Palace. They have now announced too many signings for any person to be able to remember, but the big name in there is Mikhailo Mudryk from Shakhtar Donetsk. Winger, it's a deal that comes to about £100 million with add-ons, something like that. He's very young, didn't score too many goals in the Ukrainian league, but pretty much everyone wanted him. And Chelsea have thrown the most money at him, and Chelsea have got him. Arsenal didn't want to break their wage structure, fair play to them. Chelsea have got him on like an 8.5-year deal, so if he's terrible after a season, he's going to stick that contract out. It's going to be interesting to see how it works out. They've still got a lot of injuries. Who am I backing here to have the advantage? I think Liverpool might have a slight advantage, but I really can't call a winner. So for me, I'm going to go down the middle, sitting on the fence, 1-1. Up next, Bournemouth take on Nottingham Forest. Now, last season when this fixture was played, it was in the Championship, and Bournemouth got the win to secure their automatic place in the Premier League due to Forest not being able to accumulate enough points. It was between these two for that second place, and that Bournemouth win secured that spot. However, Forest did then win the playoffs to come up and join them, and they got quite a bit of money for it as well, because that playoff game makes you very, very rich if you can win it. In the league, Forest started off not too well. Bournemouth the same, but they got rid of Scott Parker early, and it worked for a while. However, they are now on the back of 4 losses in a row, and they haven't scored a goal in any of those 4 matches. So Bournemouth are really struggling. Forest, unbeaten in 3, won 2 in a row, and they haven't conceded in both of those wins. So there's a bit of a difference in form. Forest beat Leicester in their last game, the big rivals, beat them 2-0. I've got a feeling Forest will edge this one, so I'll go Forest to win 1-0. Leicester take on Brighton now. Leicester have been struggling as of late, 4 losses in a row. Brighton are doing very, very well. 2 wins in a row, scoring 7 goals across those 2 games. And their last one was a very memorable 3-0 victory over Liverpool. Now Brighton are doing very well. Potter left. They did seem to struggle a bit at the start, but De Zerbi now has them playing brilliant fluid football again, scoring plenty of goals. Brighton are loving life in the Premier League at the moment, and I don't think that's going to change here. I'm going to go for Brighton to get all 3 points in a 2-0 victory. Southampton face off against Aston Villa. Now, after 6 losses in a row for Southampton, they finally got a victory under Nathan Jones in the league at the weekend, 2-1 over Everton. Everton are really struggling, and I think their game this weekend is very important because Lampard will probably lose his job with a loss. But more about Southampton. They were, very good. They managed to get a win. James Ward-Prowse scored a brilliant free kick. And hopefully that can kickstart them now, and they can try and get some results going together, get that run of form that they normally get every season. Whether it will happen, I don't know. It could just be that Everton are very poor. Now, Aston Villa, unbeaten in 3, won their last game 2-1 against Leeds. A game that I watched, and a game that they were really, really battered in, to be honest. It was all Leeds, but Villa did what you need to do, which is get the win. A couple of counter-attacks, and they sealed all 3 points. So Villa are now looking in a better position than they were a few weeks ago with a decent run of form. Southampton are looking to get out of the relegation zone for the first time since I can really remember. They seem to have been down there this whole time. I think that Southampton's win will give them a bit of a boost, and I think Villa being away might be a bit of a negative for them. So I will go down the middle, 1-1. Next up, a massive battle at the bottom of the league. West Ham against Everton. Now, West Ham are really, really struggling. 7 games without a win. Everton, also 7 games without a win. And in their last 7, West Ham have managed to pick up 1 point. Everton have managed 2. So they are really both not in good form, which is why this is such a big game. And it's also why, if this ends in a draw, both managers could be sacked. If Everton win, Everton apparently want David Moyes, so again, both managers could go. If West Ham win, is it enough to keep David Moyes' job? I don't know, but I think Lampard would be gone from Everton if he was to lose. So there's a lot of things that can happen here that can affect the managerial situations. I don't really know who to back. They're both pretty poor. One thing that is making me favour West Ham is that 1, they're at home, which kind of gives you an advantage in a game anyway, if only a little boost. And 2, Everton are so poor. If you look at Bournemouth's last win, it was against Everton. Southampton, they beat Everton last week. All the teams that are down there, really struggling, seem to have beaten Everton recently. It's probably similar for West Ham, but I've just got a feeling that West Ham will win this one and Lampard will be sacked. So West Ham to win it, 2-1. Palace face Newcastle next. Now, Palace got a brilliant point, 1-1 against Man United, and Michael Elise scored a brilliant free kick. Tight angle, in off the bar. He is a brilliant, brilliant player. Newcastle are, still on that great unbeaten run. Still only lost one game in the league this season. They're really, really flying. I don't think that's going to stop here, because Palace, they can stay in a match, but I feel like at the start of the season they were offering a lot in attack. I feel like that's started to fade a little bit now, and I just can't see Newcastle really being beaten by any sort of, bottom half sides. And I sort of think Palace are a top of the bottom half side, 11th, 12th. That's not based on league position, that's based on where I think they'll sort of be from what I've seen so far by the end of the season. They sort of beat the teams below them, draw with the teams around them, and lose to the teams above. They're one of those. A lot of teams are like that, I guess, but I've just got the feeling that Newcastle will carry on, putting the pressure on the top two, top three even now. So Newcastle to win 2-0. Next up, it's Leeds against Brentford. These are two of the most exciting teams to come up from the Championship recently. But Leeds, they are struggling this season as they did last season. Now with Leeds, I still do really enjoy watching them. I think they're a very good attacking team, very fluid, exciting. Wilfred Gnonto, what a player he looks like he's going to be. But for all their brilliant work at the top end of the pitch, and to be honest, they don't seem too bad defensively. They're just not getting the results at the moment, and it's a results business. So I think if they carry on to struggle, Jesse Marsch may be looking at the exit door. Now, they haven't won in 5. They've picked up 2 points in that amount of time. They're up against a very, very good Brentford that are unbeaten in 7. 4 of those wins and 3 wins in a row. Brentford are beating a lot of top sides. They've beaten Man City and Liverpool in that run. They are really going for it, and I think they're going to finish top half, Brentford. I really do. They're so good. They're so different. They're so difficult to play against. And I do think that they will reap the rewards of their hard work. And unfortunately for Leeds, I think they will score a few here, but still not be able to get the result. Brentford to win 3-2. Man City face Wolves here. Now, Man City they're a brilliant side, but at the moment they are struggling a little. In their last 6 matches, they've lost to Brentford and Man United and drawn with Everton. That's not the Man City that we really know. They don't normally drop that many points in such a short amount of time, and they really do need to pick up their form, because their last match was a 4-2 victory over Spurs. But if they hadn't of, whatever Pep said to them at half time didn't get through to them, they would have went on to lose that game, because they were 2-0 down. They didn't play too badly, but they just didn't seem to have an answer creatively, and they were missing De Bruyne, which is a big, big miss. However, they played Haaland and Alvarez, and this is one thing that I have thought for a while they maybe should go for, because the problem with having Grealish on a wing, Mahrez on a wing, Foden, they're not very direct. It isolates Haaland, and it becomes too predictable. Teams had started to be able to stop him from getting on the score sheet. If you have a player like Alvarez up there who also wants to, get in behind, be played in, just run at teams, it gives defenders someone else to focus on. It stops Haaland from being so isolated, and then he gets a goal. Alvarez scores as well. That's because there's 2 of them doing it. It just means that they are much better attackingly. And we saw that. The first half wasn't great, but the second half, they came out. Mahrez put in a brilliant man of the match performance. He was wearing gloves, and Mahrez with gloves is very, very scary. I think he normally wears gloves, but I only seem to notice it in that game. Wolves are very, very much better under Lopetegui. They are much better defensively. They've went back to that sort of Nuno era where they're really hard to break down. They won't score many, but they don't concede too many. Start of the season, they weren't scoring and they were conceding a few too many, but now it seems to be one a game that they're conceding, sometimes none, which is better. And they did manage to get a result in their last game, an important 1-0 win over West Ham. This is the sort of game that I feel Wolves could cause a shock and go and win because of one man who hasn't done anything all season really, but his name's Adama Traore. And I remember probably about 4 or 5 years ago, he haunted Man City, got a couple of goals in a 2-0 win. And he's just that sort of player that no matter what you do, if you do play a high line, he can get in behind. With a player like Ruben Neves spraying balls, I saw him in the FA Cup replay against Liverpool. He was flinging balls out to that wing to Adama Traore every time, always onside. And it was causing Liverpool some issues. I think with City's high line, Neves could be playing a few of those behind Man City's defence and into the path of Adama Traore. However, Man City reminded me against Tottenham that although the first half wasn't great, they are still a goal-scoring machine. So I'm going to have to back the home side here. City to win 2-1. It's the big one. It's Arsenal versus Man United. Now, both of these sides are in brilliant form. Arsenal still only lost 1 game and drawn 2, winning the rest. Man United have been brilliant under Ten Hag pretty much since Casemiro came in, and it's going to be an interesting clash. However, a win here for Arsenal would have to make me say that I think they're going to win the league. Now, it's not that if they lose I don't think they'll win it, or if they draw I don't think they'll win it, because I still think they probably will. But if they win here, then they've got 2 games against Man City. And, you know, as long as they don't lose both of them, they're in the driver's seat. They can lose one against City and draw the other, but with a win here, you know, they're still in the better position. I think, to be honest, as long as they don't lose both to City, it doesn't really matter what happens here. But Arsenal have shown this season that usual Arsenal that can drop points to teams that you'd expect them to beat in the bottom half aren't here. They drew 1 game with Southampton, and then they drew 1 against Newcastle, which is a brilliant point to get anyway. And they lost to Man United. So Man United the only team to beat them. Can Arsenal get a bit of revenge and make that gap at the league even bigger? They've got a game in hand, so although it's going to be played later than City's game, if they win this, they'll still have a game in hand, and it could be better if Wolves manage to do something against Man City. Man United have really came from nowhere, but I think they are certain to get top 4 this season, as I think the top 4 will be Arsenal, Man United, Man City and Newcastle. No particular order there, but I do think Arsenal will win the league, which will make you Arsenal fans very happy. Not that you need my acknowledgement for that, because I think a lot of people are starting to back you. For this game, Casemiro is missing for Man United, which is a massive blow. He has really, changed that side. He's been brilliant in there with Fred or Eriksen. Now, I think they will play how they did against City, with Eriksen playing that attacking midfielder role, because he can get back, he can defend, and maybe not risking it and having a winger like Anthony on there who's just going to look to get forward. Rashford's in brilliant form. But that midfield, it's going to have to be Fred and then either Eriksen next to him or McTominay next to him. I'm not sure if that's strong enough to hold out Arsenal, but I'm all for an entertaining game. Man United aren't really losing at the moment. They know how to stick in a game. Big occasion. I'm going to call this one, although I think Arsenal have the edge, down the middle. Exciting draw, 2-2. And finally, Monday Night Football, Fulham against Spurs. Now this is an interesting clash because Fulham were on a 4-winning streak, but then they did lose 1-0 to a late Newcastle goal. However, Fulham are really, proving a lot of people wrong this season. Mitrovic in brilliant form. The whole squad really in brilliant form. They've been good defensively. And they look like they're definitely going to stay up this time, which is, it's nice to see a team that normally yo-yos to actually keep their Premier League status. Now Spurs having a lot of issues. They even managed to bottle their annual win against Man City. They didn't do anything special in that City game, but they found themselves 2-0 up at half time. Second half comes along. That lead's gone within 10 minutes. Spurs, I kind of feel bad for their supporters because they're probably used to seeing it, but a lot of them would have hoped they could get the win against City because, as I said, that's what they usually do. And it's not looking great recently anyway. 1 win in 5, 2 losses in a row against Arsenal and Man City. I think it's going to be 3. This is my shocking prediction. Fulham to get all 3 points and win it 1-0. So, those are my predictions for these Premier League fixtures. Make sure to get down in the comments with your predictions, and if you only want a few games, I'll pick out the big 3 for me. Liverpool against Chelsea. Going to the bottom of the table, West Ham against Everton. Big clash there. And then top end of the table, it's Arsenal against Man United. Put your predictions for all of them, or those 3, or any that you want. Make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, or if you're just lurking about and not hitting it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Why not? Hit the notification bell as well, just to make sure that you're always up to date and you're not missing out on any Premier League content. Hopefully we can get another 2 scores at least here, and I hope all the games are as exciting as they look.